Hello, everybody. Rick Garner with Garner's Games, here today to talk to you about why Marvel Crisis Protocol is the game you should really be looking at to play. Uh, this game is pretty much a straightforward skirmish level game involving characters from the Marvel Universe. It's based on the comic books. However, the releases are influenced by the Marvel Cinematic Universe quite a bit. The concept of the game is you have a team of superheroes or supervillains or a combination thereof set to accomplish missions which have objectives throughout the game. Each mission has a threat level which dictates how big your force can be. Now, threat level is more or less the point value, to use the system that's used by most other games, to decide what characters you can fit within your point level. Most of the missions are 17 threat level. That gives you usually 5 characters, usually someone who's worth 4, 3, that worth 3 piece, and then that leaves you enough to get one more character, kind of about what you want. Now, if you start going to big characters that have like a high threat level, like a 6, like Hulk, She-Hulk, those type of characters, of course, that's going to cut down on your numbers quite a bit. You can compensate by taking some 2 threat levels like Wong or the original Black Widow, and that to try to compensate so you don't get your number count too low. But the miniatures have great detail. This is my Loki here. I spent a lot of time painting him. But you have lots of options in this game. You can have Loki teaming up with Power Man. You can have the Red Skull and Captain America on the same team, as little sense as that would make. You can focus completely on Spider-Man and his allies. There are actually team abilities that kick in when you have certain leaders, like the X-Men have their own team deal. The Avengers have several different leaders, Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and so on. And basically allows you to build a thematic team around what you're trying to accomplish. You can have Cyclops leading Wolverine, Colossus, Magic, Storm, Kitty Pryde, Gambit, Rogue, whoever from the X-Men, and that's your X-Men team. You can have Magneto leading Toad and Mystique and all the Brotherhood. So it gives you quite a bit of options on what you want to do, and you're also not limited. You could have a couple of X-Men, build an X-Men team actually underneath the legal deals. You could have 4 X-Men, and then you could toss in, I mentioned him before, Power Man. You could throw Power Man in there. Completely viable. And your team is still an X-Men team, guest starring Power Man. Of course, the obvious Marvel one to always do would be Spider-Man guest starring in every team. And I actually honestly think that should be one of Spider-Man's abilities, is he works with every team in the Marvel comics. But I'm just going to go through a couple of deals. Like, this is my Gambit. Spent a lot of time painting him. Detailed out the cards. I really had been putting off doing X-Men, but after X-Men 97 came out, and especially after the Genosha episode, I had to go ahead and get Remy and get him painted up. There's one of my Avengers. It's Sam, Captain America. He's one of the many leaders of the Avengers. And I do most of my stuff, comic book accurate. Like, here's Power Man and Iron Fist. 2 classic characters that I read when I was young. I love running them together as a team. I spent a lot of time and a lot of different techniques on Mysterio, because I'm working right now to get every Spider-Man foe, because Spider-Man's my favorite Marvel character. His Rogues Gallery is my favorite Rogues Gallery, so I kind of want to get them all done. I'm not going to show you all of them, but here's also the Lizard. The dramatic poses that a lot of these miniatures have are vastly superior to almost everybody's on the market. There's only a couple of companies that can compete with them as far as the dramatic poses and the detail that they get into the characters. But likewise, you don't always have to follow a theme. Like, here's my regular Hulk. Now, regular Hulk is supposed to be green, but since I plan on getting the Immortal Hulk, which I haven't gotten yet, I wanted this Hulk to look considerably different, so I went with Grey Hulk. Another advantage of this game is terrain. This is a dumpster. The dumpster can provide cover. It can block line of sight. Sometimes it's actually kind of short to do that against most things. But bigger terrain like a building can block it, like the newspaper stand that comes in the original box set, the New York apartment complex, which I do own, which blocks a lot of line of sight. But unlike other games where terrain is on the board and you can either work it to your advantage or it's a disadvantage, it doesn't matter. Terrain is terrain, and we can argue tooth and nail on some games whether or not terrain is done correctly, and like Star Wars Legion, Warhammer 40k, Age of Sigmar, Flames of War, all kinds of different games all have different terrain rules. The difference is, if I don't like where this dumpster's at, Hulk here can just pick it up and throw it as a weapon at my opponent. Terrain issue solved. And it's advantageous to me because I've just used it to my advantage because I hit you with it. Actually, even that huge building, which is a size 5, if I'm running Hulk and She-Hulk, and pretty much nobody else on my team, because I'm not going to have but 5 points left on an average battle, I literally can have the two of them pick up and hurl the building with a tactics card at your forces, even removing the building from my problem, and making it a really big problem for you. The game has a lot of swinginess with the dice, which is really good because you can't just completely rely on your tactics. You always have to take into account that your dice rolls may not work out or your opponent may just roll amazing. I have hit people really hard and they have just rolled ridiculous defenses. Then I've been hit so-so and I have just blanked out on defense dice. I had taken full damage when I shouldn't have. But that's part of the game. And that gets you the superhero moments where, you know, Spider-Man could beat Firelord. To be fair, Firelord's not in the game yet, but, you know, in the comics, he beat Firelord. Spider-Man can technically beat anybody, especially if we're in Amazing Spider-Man. It's just never easy for him. It's never easy for him. But this game I highly recommend. It's fun. It can be played in about 2.5 hours. We do have a how-to play video up on this YouTube channel. Please watch it. A lot of people have. It's very helpful. I highly recommend you get into this game. It's a lot of fun to paint. If you're any kind of superhero fan, this is the game for you. If you love miniature war games and skirmishing games, this is also the game for you. If you love both, it's perfect. Anyway, enough said.